What's up, Tutorinos? Welcome back to the Game Addicts Podcast, a show where we talk about the modern and retro video games that we play and collect. I am this podcast player one, Brando, and joining me here today is this podcast player two, Mike.
Hello.
And this podcast special, very special player three, Tyler.
I thought you were going to have a stroke just now.
Yeah. It looked like it.
It was like Chris Farley back in the day when he was doing the van down in the river.
Yeah.
But no, I'm Tyler. I'm excited. It's E3 week.
Yeah, guys, this is episode 125. This is the first part of our E3 review of all the news and announcements that have happened so far. There's so much crap to talk about. We're dividing it up into two this year. So we're so proud to have Tyler with us for part one. So excited that he can join us. Of course, we live streamed the Microsoft conference, and I will be live streaming Bethesda as we record this tonight. And then Mike and I will be live streaming Square Enix on Monday evening because there's no way we can't watch that together.
With 7 on the horizon here, we can't not.
I know.
So I don't want to steal the show, but a couple questions for people that may or may not know the E3 schedule. What time does the Bethesda stream start tonight and the Square one start tomorrow?
I think the Bethesda one starts at 8:30 Eastern tonight, and then Square Enix starts at 9 p.m. tomorrow Eastern.
Oh, that's a late one.
It is. It's normally Sony's spot.
But guess what? There is a potential that they might give us a demo for 7.
Oh yeah, no, I'm gonna watch it. I'm not complaining.
That's the big we're sitting here. We've both talked about this, and it's one of those things. Do you sleep? No. There's no
Absolutely
sleep.
not.
Like if you're putting out a 7 demo, I'm not sleeping.
I'm not as big a fan of 7 like you and Brandon are because 7 doesn't mean the same thing to me that it does to you guys, and I'm still, I think, just as excited.
Oh yeah.
For that game to truly become what it needs to be for us as fans.
I'm gonna be really happy with a 100% correct translation this time around,
and localization. Absolutely. But anyway, today we are wrapping up and recapping what has happened so far. We still have so much more to go, and things got off to a start before E3 this year. It was like rolling out. Of course, we've already discussed even the 2 weeks before almost the Death Stranding. Trailer. We watched that live on the podcast.
Yeah.
And then, of course, just like this past week was the Pokemon Direct, which they could have saved for the Nintendo Direct, but didn't. They let it have its own thing.
That just brings up what are they going to show? That means they have more to show. If they're willing to get rid of one of their aces early, they've got to have a lot to show.
Well, and let me ask you this, too. Maybe it's not that they have a lot to show. Maybe it's just that they want to show a lot of what they have.
Right. Like a lot more of the other stuff.
So let's get Pokemon out of the way. Not let Pokemon eat up a good portion of our time slot. And then let's show you a little bit more of, whatever next big ace in the hole that Nintendo might have.
Right. Yeah. And did you see me grab him already once? I reached for him once. We had crackers. Crackers are here, and I reached over and I went, no. And and then he looks at me. He's like, I gotta move these or I'm gonna eat them.
So, Mike, you went nuts. Literally, for the first time ever, for a Pokemon game, you were scolding me for not having watched it yet.
I am. this Pokemon game looks great. I love open world games. I'm a big open world gamer. But what they've done with it is that they have made it more immersive than it's ever been before, because the one of the biggest moments in it for me, and this just might be something really insignificant for other people, is that you see him walk into the tall grass and crouch, and then you get the question mark, and you see the ruffling of the grass, and then he bolts. So that tells me that they're really going to integrate that into the system for actually sneaking up on Pokemon in the tall grass. Obviously, we saw that there are Pokemon roaming the plains, or the wildlands, I believe is what they called them. And the cooperative mega events.
Their take on raids,
right,
which will be cool.
But if you read that correctly, only one person can capture that Pokemon at a time. So,
but that's a good thing to talk about. Pokemon already has so much replayability, and everything. If you go through any of the original Pokemon games, your playthrough is going to be identical,
right?
In what you not necessarily in what you encounter, because you're not going to face the same Pokemon at every stage throughout the game,
right?
And your roster of Pokemon that you choose might be a little bit different. It might not. It just depends on what you want. But for the most part, everything's going to be the same. And if the three of us go into one of those events together and only one of us can get the Pokemon, that's just more replayability for us to do it again.
Yeah.
And if you looked, it said that all the Pokemon change during the time of day. So you can literally just camp out until nighttime and then go do a night raid, and you're going to see, your Ghastly and all those are going to come out. So that's really cool. But I really enjoyed the this is the world as a whole. Now, something I said before that I didn't see, but I would like to see integrated is the ability for you to be able to create that bond like you do in the show, and be able to change their abilities after you've done it. So like you do the ability, and then maybe whoever, I don't know the Pokemon, so please don't smash on me, guys, because whoever does a counter as he's attacking, you could see the counter, whoever use counter and be like, oh crap, you could instantly use like a stamina charge, or
maybe like
charge.
Not necessarily like a quick time event, but you have so many quick actions
available for the bond that you create, but you can only create a bond with one Pokemon.
Yeah, that'd be really cool.
And that's the one that you have out walking with you.
That would be probably the starter or something like that.
Well, you can have it would make it to where you could have any of the Pokemon follow behind you, but make it to where whatever Pokemon you choose to be your to do your bond with is the only one that you can make those type of decisions with, because you don't want to have that bond with every one of them, because it harbors on the show of Ash and Pikachu. You really utilize how close they are. So I think it would be cool to add in, but I'm really satisfied with what they showed. I would like to see that in the future. That would be cool.
I like, I thought it looked, for a next gen Pokemon game, I thought it was pretty.
Yes.
Yes.
A lot of people that maybe aren't into Pokemon complain about how cartoony it is sometimes. I like the Pokemon's art style. The new Pokemon that we saw in the trailer, they were cute and cuddly, and some of them were kind of intimidating. The Crow Knight, the bird that looked like a Grim Reaper was pretty intimidating.
And that's the one that flies. That's your fast travel companion.
But I'm excited for Pokemon to come into its own again. We've talked a couple times on different shows, Brandon and I, about how Pokemon Go took the entire world by storm.
It did.
And you saw people outside interacting with each other, complete and total strangers, just having a good time, experiencing shit that's not real, but having moments and interactions that are the realest that you can have. And
I've heard they've significantly expanded on that with raids.
And I haven't played Pokemon Go since it originally dropped, but I dove real deep into Pokemon Let's Go, and the moment that they teased this a couple months ago, there's just nothing you can do to make me not excited about it, and they doubled down right before E3 here.
So the overall presentation of this new Pokemon game was one thing that really stood out to me, and they really hyped up that in this region, like, Pokemon battles are their main source of entertainment. Like, it's televised, and so every time you go to the next gym, it's almost like what the show, or what they perceive to be as big as the Elite Four, with the level of interactivity with the populace, and televised. That's all televised.
Yeah.
And I really dug that. It definitely makes it seem bigger.
What did you think about their Elite and Charizard? Because they show he's basically the premier Pokemon trainer, and
he's the champion. Yeah, he is the champion.
That showed me that those might be available somewhere.
I would imagine the majority of the catalog is going to be available.
I mean, they showed
pretty much right out of the gate, and then
showed a lot of old ones.
Anything that might be region specific, there will be somehow some way to grab them. I'm sure, whether it's DLC or kind of Pokemon.
Maybe a Pokemon Go tie-in where if you catch them in the real world, you can transfer them over to your Sword and Shield copy.
Absolutely.
That'd be neat. Of course, with the announcement of Pokemon Home, would be a way that you'd be able to connect via the
Pokemon over.
Yeah. So, I mean, I thought this was great. Everything about it, they're still introducing new ideas to the series. They're taking it to the next level. It looks phenomenal, just like you said, Tyler. It looks absolutely like next level good. As far as go ahead.
And this is still the first console Pokemon game, real Pokemon game we've ever had. Because Pokemon Go is a rehashing.
Yeah, Let's Go is the kind of the fusion dance between Pokemon Go and Pokemon Yellow.
Yeah.
So I just think you look at the presentation of this new Pokemon, and just one word comes to mind. It's fun. You're going to be able to have fun solo. You're going to be able to have fun with your friends doing these raids. It's just you're going to be able to have fun with the community. Because it's just fun. That's what Pokemon's about.
I think that one of the biggest updates they'll have is the ability to do battles with other players.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
They didn't mention that before, but they're already saying, "Hey, look, you can battle together." So eventually, I think that'll be huge. The fact that you'll be able to battle other players, and like they used to in the old ones
with the link cable.
Now you won't have to do that. You can just do it online.
Right.
That'd be a big deal.
Yeah, link up with some of your friends and be able to meet up, just like they're doing the raids, but you'll be able to battle each other and whatnot,
and then trade your Pokemon.
Maybe they could do like events, just like weekend events, like you have for some of these other shooters and battle royales, where it's like, hey, weekend event, go do this, and it's a tournament or some sorts, or you can go compete and
I think that we'll see some. If they do that, you'll see real Pokemon tournaments, like real ones, because they actually have was a Yu-Gi-Oh, where now you put your card down and it reads the card and it puts a holographic image up, and you actually see them fight and do their moves now.
Cool.
In Japan, which is really cool. So
Japan,
they're all about that stuff, man.
Yeah, definitely have more down the pipeline this year than we originally thought, because this comes out in November. Another thing coming out this year, unless you guys have anything else to add with Pokemon, Google Stadia being released this year. So they announced in their little briefing on Thursday. I watched the whole thing. I'm very split on it. I'm very split on the idea. Part of me really likes it, and part of me is like, we're not ready just yet for this. Okay, so like, what exactly is this going to be? Well, you can play it on your TV if you have a Chromecast. Okay, you can play it on a phone if it's a Google Pixel. Other phones will be supported later. You can play it on any laptop, tablet, or a PC if it runs Chrome. Thought somebody was like at my door for a second.
Sling Blade.
Yeah. Hey, I reckon you talking about a Chrome.
You're one of them colonoscopists. He give you a tennis ball if you did good.
So you can play if you have any one of those. You don't have to have their controller, but it's definitely designed for their platform. Their controller itself is $70. Yeah,
pretty average price though, really.
It's about the price of the Switch controller.
Yeah, that's the Switch Pro.
The Founders Edition will get you the controller, the Chromecast Ultra for your TV, so you can play it. 3 months of their Pro membership, which is $10 a month, which gives you free games to play. Not every game is free. You're going to have to pay $60 for some of these games, especially new releases, as well as discounts for the store, and also access to the 4K streaming capability. And then you get 3 months for a buddy, so that way you can play together with somebody. That's $130.
It's not a terrible deal.
No, because when you think about it, the Chromecast Ultra, I bought one not long ago. That's $80.
Yeah. And then
wow, I didn't know the
price. That's $80. So.
And it's $70 for the controller.
$70 for the controller, so you're already at that $150.
Yep.
Then they're throwing in Destiny 2 plus the new expansion. Playable, ready to go, as like your first game. Okay, cool, right? Hey, they're touting that if you have a download speed of 10 megabits, right, you can play any game at 720p 60 frames. Okay, once you start bumping it up to play 4K, you need 35 megabits of download for 4K 60 frames in HDR. This is like way lower than any of us expected. Cool, right? When the product launches, you're gonna have to pay the Pro membership because that's what it's gonna have to be. And then later on into 2020, I said a free version is gonna drop where you don't have to pay the subscription, and you're gonna get access to the 1080 version. So what is that like? A lot of us thought when this was announced that this is gonna be a streaming service along the lines of like PlayStation Now, where you already have a library of games to choose from. And that doesn't mean that we're not going to have games to choose from, but this is going to be more of a marketplace and a new platform to play your games. The benefit of it is that you don't have to buy a console. Right. So like the most expensive thing. Yeah, exactly. You don't have to put money into a PC, into a console. You can play on keyboard and mouse if it's compatible. You can play on controller, any controller that can connect to it, Bluetooth or other, you can get their controller. You have options. It's very customizable. It's cool. And then you can put your money towards the games. You don't have to like spend so much on the actual hardware. You could just start buying games. But you don't, it's all in the cloud owned games. That's the only thing that bugs me is that like, once something is removed from the platform, if they, it's a lot like when games or when movies leave Netflix. The deal with Universal ran out for certain titles, so those titles get pulled and different ones get put on. So say I buy Borderlands 3 this fall on Stadia, and eventually they have a falling out with 2K. The 2K games are no longer on the hardware. Since I'm not downloading it, does that game get removed even though I paid for it?
Yeah, that's the question. I don't think that they'll do that.
I hope not.
If that happens once, the gamers will just go ballistic. Like, I spent $60 on a game and now I can't play it.
Well, and I would imagine that because Games Pass is removing stuff periodically from their store as well,
Mhm.
or from the service. If you pay $60 for Borderlands 3 and they remove it from their catalog, in my mind, it would just make it so no one else can purchase it.
Typically, yes. Right. You would hope that they would be tied to your account, but in this case, like that, for what you're saying, also means that if you have it downloaded, you're good. You can't re-download it.
Right.
Yeah.
But this is streaming. You don't have it downloaded. I don't know. It's something I thought about the other day, and I'm like, man, that's a gray area, and I'm not sure how that's going to work out.
I think that's an issue that I'm sure they've talked about it, and I'm sure that they have contingencies in place for that kind of scenario to take place. But I would imagine that they don't have it fleshed out at all.
Right.
Yeah.
This thing also. All right. So here's a plus. Okay. So here I am at Google Stadia. Here's your good things, and here's like some not so good things. You never have to download an update for your game. When you launch the game, it's updated. Because it's
Which is nice.
Yeah, it's awesome because you don't have to wait.
But it's not that big of a deal to me. I mean, that's not something that's going to make it or break it for me.
No, but like when you're looking at the next level, the next iteration of how our attention spans are continuously shortening, and convenience, becomes key, because then you have what used to be going to the movie store to get a tape as now be sitting on your couch scrolling either on your phone. You can do it on your phone or like on your console or on your TV. Netflix instantly pulls it up. You have it like that. It's convenience. And once everybody gets a taste for never having to upload again or download an update, it's going to become a desired trait.
And see, that is currently available on both consoles now. You just have to set it up.
Well, yes.
Where it'll automatically go, like you put it in rest mode, and it will constantly pop online and say, "Is there an update?" There is. Okay, let's just go ahead and update this now.
Sure.
So that is available currently.
But it's just different because it's like it's all done. It's all so like say like if it was doing it when you loaded it up, it would be done. But for this, they're touting it'll be done instantly. Like as soon as the download's available, like the version of the game that you play is going to be updated. So,
I think for me, I'm gonna have to see a lot more of the Stadia before I decide how I truly feel about it, because much like you and Mike, I don't really want to be the herald for games as a service, as a streaming service. I've really enjoyed Xbox Games Pass, but I download those games. It's not that big of a deal,
right?
Because while I'm paying for Games Pass, that's technically my game. I just own a digital copy of the game, or I'm renting a digital copy of the game.
Right.
That's a better way to phrase it. But one of the most anticipated titles of the last 20 years was announced for the Stadia during their presentation in Baldur's Gate 3.
Yeah.
So Larian Studios is a studio that's had a lot of trials and tribulations their entire existence, and Wizards of the Coast is a very picky organization. They're not going to let people meddle in their affairs or, have anything to do with their IP that aren't worthy. And I'm currently playing through Divinity Original Sin 2, the definitive edition, and it's incredible. I mean, it is not hard to see immediately why Original Sin 2 was reviewed as the best isometric RPG of all time by a lot of organizations. It's just incredible. And Larian is a studio that gives a shit about what they're doing. If they're going to put their faith in the Stadia, then Google has shown them something that is going to benefit them as a studio.
Is that only exclusively on?
No.
Okay.
it'll be Microsoft, Sony, and Stadia. It won't end up on Nintendo, I don't believe. But yeah, the verdict is undecided for me.
It's right there. Give it a
Yeah, you've got the thumb teetering back and forth right in the middle.
The final thing, and this was revealed later. I don't think they revealed this themselves. Somebody else did a study about the amount of data flow. If you're streaming at 4K HDR, okay, per hour you're going to be streaming 15 gigabytes of data or gigabits per data per hour. In order to reach a terabyte, it's going to end up taking 65 hours of play. Now, for a lot of America, not everybody has fiber, unfortunately. Right. The big companies like Comcast, Cox, Time Warner, well, they have data caps.
Yep.
I have a data cap, unfortunately. It's like 500 gigabytes. So when you think about, that's just in gaming. That's not with your total average use, you know.
A guy we work with, they stream, and they almost reach their data cap with just Netflix and gaming and stuff like that. So adding that type of service in there is going to hinder them significantly.
Yeah. Yeah, dude. That is the spot right there. That's the thing that is hanging me up.
Yeah, I wanted to see if I had one.
Well, we got the same service, so if you get it, I have it too.
Now
I recently switched to MetroNet, and I have 1 gigabyte internet.
Isn't it awesome?
It is incredible.
It's what we got, and it's phenomenal.
But I just wanted to pull my account up real quick and see if I had a data cap in my contract. I don't believe I do.
I don't think that they do either.
But they, from what Blaine knows, they do let you know if you're doing a little bit too much and where you're doing it from. They let him know, hey, stop downloading 4K porn. So
that's just the I don't feel like the majority of customers are quite ready for it yet with that. This whole thing with net neutrality is also part of it too, because you're talking about carriers that are going to start charging more for more bandwidth. Yeah. Or at least have the ability to. If Stadia comes out and it runs amazing, from what I understand, it runs amazing, and that's great. It's so awesome to see this technology working. You know, that's amazing, and how they have said they said during the thing that they have found a way to send a signal from their server to you at home quicker than what you see on the TV gets into your eyes and goes into your brain.
That's pretty crazy.
That's nuts, and it's a great thing to tout. I'm concerned with, especially with how wide and rural America is, that the U.S. is, that the majority of people just aren't quite ready for something like this yet. Not saying that this won't potentially pave the way for the future. But then what does that future look like if more and more people start using Stadia or Xbox's new xCloud or whatever else comes down the pipeline, and you have terabytes and terabytes? Because I use a terabyte, Tyler uses a terabyte, Mike uses a terabyte, and none of us game as much as we would like to.
Mm-mm.
So imagine if we had more time, like a lot of other people do.
Right.
And then you have the people who are going to be doing this, and you can stream at the same time.
Yep.
So that's even more bandwidth.
Yeah.
I mean, this net neutrality thing is really what's going to determine it. And I can honestly say, wherever or whatever happens, I will be going with a service that does not utilize it.
Mm-hmm.
I've always thought that Comcast is the devil, and it is the bane of all existence. And I will continue to believe that till the day I die. But
I
like
defended Comcast for a long time, but I have seen the error of my ways, and that's why I'm now a customer.
It kills me that the fact that we moved into this house and I plugged everything in and everything ran beautifully, like fastest internet speeds we've ever had. And I call them up and like, hey, you didn't switch this over. Oh, okay. Instantly drop half of what I had, and it's like, okay, I know that it's on a hard line, and I threw a fit like, hey, you need to come out and fix this. So the second MetroNet's like, we're in your area. I'm like, bot, I want you here today.
Yep.
So the only thing is that when they did put it under my fence, the line is coming up, so I have to dig back underneath and put it back down. But other than that, I love MetroNet. We've never had a problem. If we have a problem, they text message us and say, hey, there's an outage in your area. Just to let you know, we're working on it. And then if it's down for a day or two, they're like, here's a credit to your account.
Good.
I mean, they're doing that without asking me.
Yeah.
Comcast, you had to call and complain.
Yeah.
Let me ask you this: if the Stadia comes out of the gate hot, successful, or at least on the path to be successful, and you have a good number of studios and developers in Stadia's court, so to speak, do you think that would help influence the net neutrality? If Google can add a lot of people in its backcourt more than it has right now, because Google is obviously one of the major players in this conundrum that we have.
Yeah, no, they're definitely not for getting charged more by the carriers or even then to limit their users' access.
They're backing the old laws of like
they're backing net neutrality.
They're backing net neutrality. Google is, and Microsoft also is, I believe, and
Facebook, Amazon, a lot of the tech companies are.
And it's Comcast, and I believe Verizon is another one.
Those are the guys that have really
against it,
against net neutrality.
Yep, I was just saying, if Google can accrue as many people on its team as possible to come out on the positive end of this, if you think the Stadia will have a part to play in that,
and it could, especially when you have a company like Google who's their output is gonna multiply by zillions. I mean, zillions and upon squillions of terabytes of data. So then Comcast and Cox and Time Warner, these big conglomerates, Verizon, they're going to start going, man, this is too much. And since net neutrality got struck down, they can start charging Google. And they say, look, you either have to pay us or we're going to start blocking this off or start siphoning. And then, unfortunately, that's going to pass on to the consumer if that goes through.
I'm about ready to say something that's going to get you fired up.
Okay.
I'm going to warn you right now. I want to know when we became slaves in America. Why are we not? Why is everything getting filtered and banned and people telling us what we can do with said items and bodies and shit like that?
It started before this, but it really became locked in around 1978, around the time Citizens United got put in to make corporations have the same political clout as U.S. citizens, where they can go in and buy and donate to politicians to vote certain ways. If you think Ted Cruz gives really two shits about what net neutrality is or isn't, he doesn't matter, because Comcast and Verizon are lining his pockets with money to vote a certain way, to go out there and lie to the Fox News audience and say, no, net neutrality, without that, he explains what net neutrality is and says that's what net neutrality isn't, and says that net neutrality has stifled corporation growth. What the hell are you on? What? It doesn't.
I didn't fire you up. I fired him up.
eBay, Amazon, Facebook, Google. That is Etsy, Netflix, Hulu. This is just the tip of the iceberg on corporations that were founded amongst the structure of the internet and have grown, especially like Facebook and Google and Amazon, to be monster corporations. Amazon is going to put Walmart out of business. Whoever thought that would happen?
Right. Yeah.
I mean,
The simple answer is governments are bad. Okay.
But yeah, it baffles me of what's. I mean, as he said, that this has been on since the '70s, but we're really starting to see a larger scale of it. I mean, it's always been kind of a large scale, but it's all been kind of brushed under the rug a little bit to where the common folk don't really know.
But it's like everything else with the internet. We all have access to it now, so
Yep.
we all get to have our eye. We all get to be educated on it.
Yep.
Right.
That's why net neutrality is a good thing. Anyone that is educated on it is like, yep, that's what I want.
Yeah,
and their goal is to keep you
freedom to do whatever I want.
Yeah, their goal is to keep you uneducated, and therefore the newest form of slavery is to keep the people poor and stupid.
Yep. Anyways, sorry.
Star Wars.
I opened I opened the floodgates to political.
We're talking about Star Wars now. Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order was revealed during EA Plays, and that dude, even before we started streaming today, we were gushing about this game. This game that I said on Twitter it looks like they had mashed together Dark Souls, Uncharted, and Force Unleashed into one new awesome-looking game. Man, what do you guys think about this?
You go ahead, Mike. You can start first.
Okay, so I believe it is what we've been looking for. This is the one game that's been the wild card for us as we're talking like, ooh, it's an EA game. Ooh, it's an EA game. Like, really, it's not. It's Respawn, but we were hoping that EA would put their hands out of there and say, it's yours, just take it.
Well, let me add a little bit to that. Me personally, I was hoping that Respawn would say, put your hand out for me, please. Get out of here.
Yep.
We've got this.
Yep.
You know, you want us to make this game, let us fucking make it and get out of here.
Yep. And it seems that is exactly what happened because it looks great. The gameplay, when I went in, I loaded it up. I was like 3 minutes late. So the first thing I saw was him force pulling the trooper and then just
impaling him on the
saber. And I was like, wait, what? Okay. And I really got intense and watched it, and fully trained Jedi. I didn't see any force jumping.
No, just regular jump.
Regular jump, and he did force pull for the vines and stuff.
Force push for the doors.
Force push for the doors. I seen the time.
I really dug that.
The time. I really liked when he stopped time when the trooper shot the laser and then the blaster
and then pulled him in front
of it and was like,
that was the moment that I started thinking about all the cool different combos that you could do between force powers and lightsabers and everything.
I just saw that and I was like, oh God, this is it. This is what we want.
Well,
exactly.
And I think, this is a testament to either EA realizing the mistakes that they've made with BioWare the last couple years, kind of what EA has done to that studio, what Activision has done to Destiny. That's why Bungie said, "Hey, peace, we're out." Whether they took a back seat and let Respawn do what they needed to do. I've been like Respawn's #1 fanboy since the first Titanfall dropped, because I thought, okay, this is just a strictly multiplayer only game. It'll be fun. And I really got into it. I didn't think that you could really improve on it, because Respawn, I mean, what like massive campaign have they ever done? Nothing. And then they dropped Titanfall 2, and the gameplay was fantastic. The multiplayer was fantastic. The story mode was one of the best single player stories that I've played, kind of in the sci-fi genre in a while. And then Apex Legends, where anyone that's playing Apex and is enjoying it is gushing over it. So Respawn is a studio that we want to succeed.
The only thing I can argue with is I don't like battle royales, but
you fucking like Apex Legends.
I love Apex Legends. It's so the combat is just so damn fluid.
It's good. And then I think part of what has us all hyped for Fallen Order so much is the fact that the last I don't know, the last 4 Star Wars games we've had weren't very good.
Battlefield is starting to get better.
Yeah, but it wasn't at launch.
It wasn't at launch.
It wasn't a complete game. It was a dumpster fire. The first Battlefront was fun for a little bit. It was a dumpster fire. The first Battlefront was fun for a little bit, but I mean, what was the last good Star Wars game we had? The Force Unleashed?
Man, that's been so long ago.
I would consider that decent.
Yeah,
I wouldn't consider
yeah,
it good. I would
yeah.
consider it decent.
So we have been kind of ruined when it or at least Star Wars' reputation in video games has kind of been ruined. And you see a game like this that has, you know, just from the short little snippets that we've seen, a compelling narrative, important characters.
Important characters from movies.
Yes.
That were established in the movies and Rogue One and showing
not just Rogue One, a Clone Wars.
Right.
Or the Clone Wars, because that's where Saw Gerrera was originally introduced.
Yes, but really made big with
Rogue One, for sure. So, you know, with what we saw at Microsoft during their press conference today, we got to see a little bit more of the Fallen Order, a couple more scenes additional to what we saw yesterday, and it just looks good. You know, this is alpha footage that looks better than a good portion of the shit that I've played in the last 12 months.
Yeah, and you said that the only thing that you had to complain about was textures, and it's alpha footage.
It's alpha footage, so they're going to clean all of that up.
So it's going to be phenomenal.
The only thing that I really hope is that the game is long enough to satiate fans.
Yes.
You know, if the gameplay is fantastic, if the narrative is fantastic, and it ends up being kind of an Order 1886 scenario where it's only, you know, right around 25 hours on the long side, I think that will be what kills it. But if they give us a good 30+ hour narrative, then yeah,
it'd be worth it.
Who's not gonna love that? That's a Star Wars fan for sure.
Right. And they're talking. I mean, this is 100% choose your path. So you can go dark.
No, you cannot.
Oh, I thought
you do not get to choose your path in this. This is a story. This is a Jedi story. He said they have decided not to, and they asked him why, and he said because. They're focusing on telling this story about this character at this time in the timeline.
Hear that part.
Well, I think they just announced that today, or maybe
Nope.
late last night.
That was during the stream yesterday, during the EA Play.
I only watched the gameplay, and then we were in the middle of stuff, so I only watched gameplay and then switched back.
Yeah.
But I really like that decision, because I think if they would have chosen to give you your options as far as path goes, it would have just been a Force Unleashed clone, and that's what people would have said.
Yeah.
You know, a better version of it, but it would have been Force Unleashed 2.0. So it'll be interesting to see how it all plays out when we get it, because it's top 3 that I'm excited for.
It definitely jumped up the list to the point of, okay, I should probably pre-order this. And I'm telling you this now, if the limited edition comes with that freaking robot, I'm pre-ordering it. Robot is cute. I don't care what anybody. It's cute as hell.
Keep talking. I'll be right back.
But yeah, and that was the guy that did the voice for that is the original guy that did the voices for the original series.
For the BD one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He did all. He did R2 and all that.
He did the droid noises. Oh man. Anyway, yeah, no, there was only a few things that I was watching. It was like, here, there, you know. It was like some of the animations looked a little stiff, but not bad enough that I wouldn't enjoy the game, right? And of course they put you in certain situations where you've got to handle certain troopers in a certain way. Of course, they include the scout troopers are more melee. The traditional stormtroopers are ranged. They have flame troopers. They have a new trooper that is designed to weaken Jedis for the Inquisitors, and And then one thing that popped out to me is that this is so soon after Order 66. And yet, it's like, when did they transition from the Republic armor, or the Republic Commando armors for the clone troopers, to the actual Imperial Stormtrooper design? It's like, I want to know where that line is.
And not only that, but when did they transition from clones to volunteers or conscripts?
Well, I don't know exactly when, but I would assume that like the clone troopers started like when they started to die off. Because they weren't made to be forever.
Well, and right before the Empire completely took over, they were getting the defected clone troopers that weren't as, I guess, intelligent as the originals. So they started getting genetic degradation in the clones. And in the Clone Wars TV show, at the end of the original run, since they're going to add to it, it showed the degradation of those troopers. So I believe it got to the point where they're like, we can't clone anymore because it's just not. They're not. And this is where we get the stormtroopers only hit something 13% of the time.
Right.
Yeah, the game blew me away. It was more than what I expected. I also like the combat feel, how it's not just a hack and slash and everything. So I like how it's more of you have to, wear down their stamina. The combat is approached differently than what they did in Force Unleashed, where it's just like fwah 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 and just everything like that. It's not as simple as that, and you have to actually look at what's going on and think about it with a sense of strategy. There was a point in the gameplay where you had the little the one trooper that was designed, the new one. I can't remember what they called, a dark trooper. They have him. They have the scouts, and they have the regular stormtroopers. And he used the little force stop thing, or force pause, whatever he's doing, hitting the pause button on the dark trooper, and then he took care of the scout ones, and then he went to the big dude. It's like, I like that, and of course they're gonna put in some other things like ATSTs, and we saw some of that stuff. So I'm definitely excited to see this game. This is literally the best Star Wars game that we're gonna have down in the pipeline for probably a long time.
Yeah,
it's
as you stated, it's freaking Respawn.
Yeah,
they're on fire right now.
Well, and let me ask you guys this: do you think this Respawn making the Fallen Order? Do you think this is a little bit of what we were supposed to get with 1313? Obviously, the narrative's different, the main character's different, but the gameplay is pretty similar. I mean, 1313 was supposed to be an Uncharted clone, basically, and this is an amalgamation of Dark Souls, Uncharted for sure. I mean, you see as he's navigating the environment, that's Uncharted.
Oh yeah,
100%.
So I want to interject here for a second. Someone who is very high profile in the video games industry and the creator of the Uncharted series, Amy Hennig, was working with EA on a new Star Wars game that eventually ended up getting scrapped altogether. She tweeted yesterday, "Congrats to Respawn, Vince Zambella, and Stig Asmussen on the Jedi Fallen Order reveal. It looks phenomenal, and I can't wait to play." I find it very interesting that she hasn't tweeted anything since then. She did tweet congrats to Stadia and Phil Harrison on and also posted she pre-ordered it as well. But I found it interesting that she would chime in and say congrats to those guys, because I wonder, I do wonder, and they've kind of said no, that the game that she was working on became something else and it got scrapped. I wonder if there's anything in this game that was a part of that.
There's no way there's not, because you're definitely seeing the.
It's in the framework.
I mean, it's there. I mean, him pulling vines out, swinging around, the traversing the zone
when he's climbing, for sure.
Yeah. So I really enjoyed it. I thought, okay, this is what we're wanting right here. This is it. Don't deviate from this. Just now make that a very nice, long, detailed intricate story that's complex to the point of like you get torn between what's going on.
Mhm.
Give me something to sit and just go, I got to play it again.
Mm-hmm.
I got to play it again.
The only thing that I would like to add is, fans have gotten what they wanted with Baldur's Gate 3. We're finally going to get it. It's basically been 20 years.
We're getting a Wyatt.
As long as this game succeeds, give fans the next big thing that we've wanted for 20 years.
No, it's just Tyler and Mike.
KOTOR.
Yes.
Give us
It's
Knights of the
Tyler
Old
and
Republic
Mike.
3,
Yep.
and then let's go about our
Okay.
day.
Yep.
It's time
So-
for the weekly Wyatt wrap up here on the show.
Yep, I understand. I'm on the show.
Yeah. What are we talking
Hi,
about?
Wyatt.
Where does Slotty sing here from? And that's Spotify and that's YouTube.
Yep. Our show is on Apple Podcasts, Spotify, YouTube, and also we've been accepted to iHeartRadio.
Eat.
No, don't hold the mic. Don't hold the mic.
Don't cut
We
the
gotta
mic.
leave it
Wyatt.
here. But what are we talking about? What is that?
It's the Xbox.
We will be talking about Xbox. Yeah.
What am I saying with that? Fun thing with it.
Fudge Penguin? Is that what you
Fudge Penguin?
Did you hear Fudge Penguin?
I didn't watch it.
You
And
didn't watch it.
No, I didn't.
It's funny that
Are you-
Brandon cares
So
at
we're
all.
talking about video games, and we just got done talking about Star Wars.
We were talking about Star Wars.
Yeah, we're talking about the new Star Wars game, and we're still doing the podcast here. This is part 1 of E3. Can you
We
say
were
E3?
watching Star Wars and it was not working.
You're right. We tried watching Rogue One today, and it was not working.
It was not working anymore.
Nope, not working anymore. Anyway, it's time for bed, Bubba.
I just said it.
Can you say thank you for listening to the podcast?
I just want to keep talking to the podcast.
I just want to keep talking. Well, buddy, we got to carry on with the show, okay?
No single days. No one is talking. Have single day. Fun of that chick.
What? What'd you say?
It's a ton of that chick.
What?
Chick.
That's
Chick.
that's the Xbox.
That is the Xbox, yes.
That's how you play cowboy game.
That is how I play my cowboy game. All right, buddy. I love you.
Love you too. Bye.
Say,
Bye.
say thanks for listening to the show.
Thanks for listening to the show. Bye.
All right. I love you, dude. Be careful leaving. Can I have a hug? Thank you. I love you.
I'm doing a podcast with Mike and Blaine.
No, and Tyler.
I'm doing a podcast with Mike and Taylor.
Yeah, and Tyler.
Yep.
Okay.
Bye.
Wabu, bye.
You better comment on that in a second. His headphones go on. You better.
How does Wyatt pick Blaine before me?
Man, I think he's met Blaine once, and he's met you way more. He just associates like you with Blaine.
Oh, that's fair.
Because when I go to do guest spots on your podcast, Podcastrophe, it's usually with the both of you, and so and then they'll watch sometimes, and then he's like, is that Blaine and Tyler?
Yep.
And so yeah, that's how that kind of works. Yeah, he gets very excited. He now builds a computer and a microphone with his magnet set and does a podcast at his table.
Yeah.
Yeah. He had Woody on as a guest.
Nice.
So I mean that's kind of cool.
High profile guest.
Especially with Toy Story 4 coming out. I need to definitely ask him for some tips. But yeah, no, that has now been since now we do the show remote and I can have my own space and Mike can have his own space. That's become a thing. That way I don't miss bedtime if we're starting to run past bedtime.
Right.
So yeah, the weekly Wyatt wrap up, and he really enjoys doing it. He always says something, usually like within a day or so. Were you doing a podcast and I talked on it?
Mud penguins.
Mud penguins.
Mud penguins was the thing he said. Mud penguins. I don't know, but it's a thing now.
Mud penguins.
I'm
See,
gonna use it for sure.
I thought
start using it.
I thought he said he was looking down. He goes, "That's kind of like shit." And I'm like,
yeah, we thought the same thing. Too.
I'm like, what is he talking about? He goes, that's the Xbox. I'm like, oh no, come on now, don't diss Xbox that much. They actually doing really good right now. Anyway, yeah, no, the new Star Wars game looks amazing. I'm so happy that looks like we're getting a really good Star Wars title coming down the pipeline, coming out this year in November. It's really difficult because between that and Pokemon, they're both coming out right at the same time almost, and you're just like, the new Pokemon game looks amazing, but this game looks amazing.
So where I lean, I lean always the one way first.
Mm-hmm.
So Star Wars all the way for me.
I lean towards the buy them both because I can't control myself.
You know what? That's probably what's gonna happen.
Also,
the Pokemon game's not gonna drop in price anytime soon, probably ever, other than like $10. So.
Also, Death Stranding is right at the same time.
Yeah.
Also, a game that we got like a release date for on the Xbox side during their press conference is like a few weeks before that.
Right.
Whew. Anyway, I don't know. I really don't have anything else to add to the Star Wars thing, other than everything about it looked great.
Yeah.
While you were off headphones, I told Mike, I want the Fallen Order to succeed. And I want EA to look at that and say, okay, we've got a good Star Wars game now.
Mm-hmm.
Let's get some Knights of the Old Republic 3. Let's revive like the Phoenix. Let BioWare revive from the ashes, and let's get Knights of the Old Republic 3 and just keep kicking it off with a bang.
Think about Star Wars game with the Anthem style gameplay. Good Lord have mercy. Obviously, you wouldn't be able to fly.
Well, maybe.
Almost with force jump.
Oh, you don't necessarily have to be a Jedi.
It's true. You could be Boba.
You could be Boba Fett.
A Mandalorian.
Mm-hmm.
And do the rocket troopers.
Oh, yeah.
Oh, man. This could be a big deal here. Play both sides of the field.
I think I really do think Tyler is getting Mike really excited over there.
Yeah, he usually does.
Well, you see how I kind of I got him moist with my Star Wars shirt, and then then you brought up Star Wars, and it's like open the floodgates.
Well, also I didn't expect him to come here, and he didn't state that in our group message. He was just like, so 3:15, right? And I'm like, yeah, 3:15. And then you're like, no, 3:30. I'm like, okay, cool. We're not doing anything 3:30. So I went upstairs to take a shower before this, and I right at the top of the stairs, ding ding. I'm like, who's that? I look through the window. It's Tyler.
Well, he said he was going to do the easiest way, and he said show up at your place at 3:15, and I said okay, and then we'll convene at 3:30 to do audio visual tests.
I didn't see that because I don't.
I even thought that maybe I needed to clarify more, but I was thinking for Tyler that way he didn't get confused. I didn't really think about you getting confused.
Yeah.
Yeah. Anyway, next up for Respawn, another one, Season 2 for Apex.
Want me there? See, I think that's what I got. That's what I was like.
Say that again, Brandon. I'm sorry.
We get distracted.
Respawn kept it going.
Yes.
With their reveal of Season 2 of Apex. Mm-hmm. You two are the Apex guys. So now we have to pick. Are we going to gush about it now, or are we going to wait to gush about it on your show that you guys are going to do together?
Probably wait.
Let's do it on ours.
Because it can go for a while.
Yeah.
Okay, so head on over. After you hear this, I'm not sure when you guys are going to do it, but over and subscribe to Podcastrophe on several podcasting services, including Spotify, Apple Podcasts, the big ones. And check out and stay tuned for that episode featuring Tyler and Mike. And they're going to be gushing all about Apex Legends over there. A little bit of cross promotion.
We'll make some barbecue. He told me the other day. He's like, I'm a little jealous. I wanna do a podcast with Tyler. I'm a little jealous. I was like, hey, you've done stuff without him, without me. And he's like, but it's been a while.
It has been a while.
There's enough of me to go around.
That's a. Anyways,
but yeah, so I'm gonna say it again. Respawn is killing it. if you've enjoyed anything that Respawn has done as a fan, whether it be Titanfall or what we're going to get with Star Wars or what we've been having with Apex Legends, give that studio as much love as you can, because it's really the shining gem in Electronic Arts right now.
Yeah, it really is, because Bethesda. Wow,
BioWare.
say that BioWare, as EA has really caused them to stumble.
Well, EA normally causes everyone to stumble.
And it's good to see something coming out of there that's not stumbling because of EA's greed.
Mm-hmm.
And I'm really hoping that they start learning, hey, we should be more hands off. Stay hands on with your titles, like your Maddens, your FIFA. I mean, that's the game they want every game they release to be FIFA numbers.
Mm-hmm.
It's not gonna be. You're talking about soccer is a worldwide phenomenon.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, it's been around forever.
Right.
You can't. There's so many fans. You can't expect people to buy games like they buy a FIFA game that's worldwide.
Right.
Especially a new title.
Especially a new title in new IP.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Anywho,
that's all I have to say about that.
Yeah. We could go on and on about the errors and the evils of EA, but at least as mentioned, that Respawn, both with Apex and then with this, it seems like what Respawn was able to do was able to give EA exactly what they wanted. They wanted that battle royale cash cow.
Mm-hmm.
And then they were able to go around the same time, have two different teams, and they're able to make something that they wanted to make.
Yep.
Mm-hmm.
And we'll save what we want to save for later.
Absolutely.
We both look at each other at the same time, like, yep. Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm. Anyway, so then today we live streamed it right on our channels, on our Twitch channel, twitch.tv/GameMedicsPlay, as well as our Facebook. And we watched the Xbox E3 2019 press briefing. Wow.
They killed it.
Yeah.
Wow.
They did exactly what they needed to do.
2 years in a row.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
2 years in a row, Xbox showed up with the intent that fans are going to be fans of video games and of their brand again.
Yep. They're doing a good job. They really are. I mean, for me, I don't plan on buying a new Xbox console because they are bringing everything to PC like I want them to.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm still going to support them because they're doing exactly what they need to do.
Right.
Mm-hmm.
They're seeing the change of the gaming, and it's like, okay, we need to be essentially the voice, the first stepping stone to say, hey, look, we're three different. Let's just say we're three different gamer types right now.
Mm-hmm.
You got Nintendo, PlayStation, Xbox. Let's just go ahead and say we don't care. And we want everyone to be happy.
Mm-hmm.
So let's try to do what we can to make everybody happy. And that's what's really turning gamers more to lean towards more of Xbox's ways, because they're giving it. I mean, they're acquiring 8 now, 8 new studios, and they're just throwing out the freaking exclusives. They're throwing games at us.
Well, and Phil Spencer, I'm gonna label him the happiest guy in video games.
Yeah.
Because he's just, he's amped up about what he's doing. I mean, could you imagine being that guy walking into a flaming dumpster fire? I'm going to use that again in Xbox, and he's like, well, Phil Spencer kind of reminds me of Fix-It Felix from Wreck-It Ralph.
Yep.
He got his golden hammer, and by God, he's going to fix it. And from the time that he took over until now, he has done nothing but elevate that brand. 8 studio acquisitions right now. He says there's over 1,000 titles in development.
Yeah.
That's 1,000 titles
that they know of. That's under their umbrella to a degree. So, geez.
I mean,
and they brought us 60 today.
Yeah, 60 titles.
And how many?
14 were
world premieres.
Yes. They had that kick the door open entrance with Outer Worlds.
Yeah.
Obsidian was, when I saw them, They didn't announce that during E3 last year. That was a little bit after. When I saw that they acquired Obsidian, Brando, you and I instantly had the conversation. Well, I wish they would have done this with BioWare, 10 years ago.
Yeah.
Because, and especially too, just think about the relationship that Obsidian and BioWare and Obsidian and Bethesda have had.
Mm-hmm.
Like Obsidian is kind of the middle ground between the big two Bs in Bethesda and BioWare. So they've had a lot of interaction with some of the best designers and storytellers in gaming. They're pretty good at what they do.
I mean, they were Fallout.
Yes.
I mean, they were Fallout.
Mm-hmm.
So
in my mind, I'm gonna rank that as the biggest acquisition that they've made, because I think that Obsidian is the most capable of doing kind of anything.
Yeah.
And put their spin on it.
I also like the
I
way it seems as if during this entire Microsoft conference, it didn't seem like Microsoft was really reining anyone in. It was just do whatever you want. Give us the games that you want to give us.
Mm-hmm. Here's our payroll, or here's our bankroll.
Mm-hmm.
What do you have to make? If it sounds good to us, make it the way that you want it.
Yep.
So yeah, Outer Worlds. I love that we got to see a little bit more of that. This was more of a story trailer, story teaser. Really focusing in on choice and explore, not necessarily open world exploration, because it is a little bit more of it's a linear story with diverging paths. So you've got one path to take, or one street to travel, but you can take as many side streets as you want to get to your destination.
It also seems like the side streets that you take determine where the main story goes. So you're talking about replayability as being very high, in a game like this. And anymore, that's hard to say that games anymore have a high replayability.
Not every game can be like Mass Effect or The Witcher, or what's another big one? Fallout. I mean, let's just go ahead and put Fallout in there too. Skyrim for sure. Outer Worlds looks really cool. I would have liked to see a little bit more, I would have liked to see actual gameplay than pre-rendered stuff. But it looks good. It looks like it's in Obsidian style. Character models don't look like I took a picture on my phone. They're it's a model of a character. So, not the best graphics in the world, but that doesn't really matter to me.
Yeah, I don't
at this point. I mean, even if I'm playing something in 4K, if the story sucks, I don't really want to play it. So, looking at you, Anthem.
We're gonna save that one as well.
Yes.
I can't wait.
I had to get my jab in there while I could.
I'm glad you did it, because I was literally thinking the exact same thing. Talking to you, Anthem.
Oh no, dude.
I mean, how did you feel about kind of how they opened the conference, Brandon?
Dude, they hit it. Dude, they hit the ground running. Like the first thing they show is of course Outer Worlds is a third-party game still. Even though they own Obsidian, it was in development before Microsoft purchased them. So it will be coming to PS4 and whatnot. But it will be the last one coming to PS4. And, of course, they're highlighting it because they own Obsidian. So they're like, hey. And it's not like Xbox really cares that this is going to be going to other platforms. They're just going to hail it as coming onto their platforms. And then, of course, you'll be able to get it day one on Game Pass.
And anything moving forward is coming out day one on Game Pass. And I think that is magnificent, because that just tells people, and we'll touch on the Ultimate as well, but the fact that, hey, every new title we're dropping, if you've got Game Pass, you've got it.
Yep.
I'm really happy to see them double down on Game Pass the second year in a row. Because I you talked me into getting it last year when there was the big promotion, Brandon.
Yep.
And I was a little bit weary when they said every first party title from here on out will be accessible day one. I was a little bit weary, because are they really going to basically give Halo and Gears of War away for free? obviously it's not free,
Right.
but they're not getting that hard $60 spent on that that one purchase.
Right.
But like I'm not gonna buy Outer Worlds now because I've got Game Pass.
Yep.
Yeah.
So it's one more thing that's inevitably gonna get added in my, push games into my backlog. The forgotten catalog that I have, so I can play that. But I don't have to go out and buy it. I just got to download it, which will be fun. I think it'll be really cool.
I'm really excited to see the Game Pass for PC. And go ahead. I see that.
I wanted to add into what Tyler was saying.
Yeah, I know.
That we had just talked about the Pokemon Star Wars. It's like, what do we do? And Outer Worlds. You're right. It is coming to Game Pass, so we won't have to buy it. We can just get it, enjoy it, maybe beat it before either one of those games come out.
Now, I really want to highlight Ultimate.
Yeah, well, I mean,
Might as
well just go right into it.
Yeah.
Wow.
So
That's
they
a
said,
deal.
yeah, they said for $15, right? $15 a month, you get Game Pass for Xbox One for consoles. You get Xbox Live, and then you get Xbox Game Pass for PC, which will have a separate list of games that that are for PC. There's obviously going to be some crossover.
Right.
But they're
they also said Halo is coming.
Yeah.
Everything up to Halo Reach is all coming to PC.
Yeah.
So,
I mean, it's Master Chief Collection and Reach are coming, and of course they showcase a Metro Exodus is coming to that, like as well.
Awesome.
Metro Exodus is coming to Game Pass this month. Is that, man?
That's a game that I strongly urge anyone that likes kind of survival horror, first person apocalypse. But it's not like Mad Max. It's more fun. It's got a really good narrative.
It's like a weird
outside.
Yeah.
Like fully outside. So.
Yeah, no, like it so moving on, they showed Bleeding Edge, which seems to be by Ninja Theory. It seems to be like probably another Battle Royale game, but this will be Xbox's Battle Royale game. Yeah, for those that like those games, it's something to keep an eye out to see how that develops. Then Ori and a new trailer for Ori and the Will of the Wisps, and also release date for that, which was that next year? Was that
February?
February 11th.
I will. Yep.
You'll look it up and
we'll be wrong.
I'm pretty sure something was February 11th.
I'm so hesitant on opening any sort of thing because of the automatic playing videos.
Right.
But it's February 22nd. You guys are right. I had to quickly pause it. And then we got a new...
We're 11 days off.
But it was February.
It was my dad's birthday.
Happy birthday, Mike's dad.
On the 22nd February.
Then we got another trailer for Star Wars Jedi Fallen Order. This was different than what we saw from the gameplay. There's a few things that we were saying, but we got to see like inside of a walker and just more.
Walker, and it was good. It's really good.
And we got the Cyberpunk 2077 release date, and so the release date is April 16th.
4/16.
Yep.
2020.
And then, of course, we got... This has been secret. I don't know how they kept this secret in a world where leaks are everything.
Keanu motherfucking Reeves.
Right? The man, the myth, the legend.
He walks out on stage, and he's just like flabbergasted by the response, and
he's hyped up for it.
He is, and as I said during the live stream, he's made his money. He doesn't live lavishly. That's pretty well known. He doesn't do anything that he doesn't want to do.
Yeah.
At this point in his career, he made his money, and now he's doing this. I was already sold on this, and I'm happy that we got a release date for it. Of course, there's the big rumor that there's a lot of games coming out in the first half of next year, and this is definitely going to be pre-order at Christmas time. And I just hope that nothing else big that I want to play comes out right next to it.
I couldn't believe that they're like, hey, get up. We've got work to do. And it was freaking Keanu Reeves. And the whole place just exploded. And then and here is
Keanu Reeves.
And like people are screaming, I love you. Just wow. And like you said, how in the world did they keep this contained?
I mean, because obviously he's not the player character in the game. You know, he's gonna be a part of it, which I think that's even better. That he's not the main player character. As much as I like Keanu Reeves, I just like that he's gonna be in it somewhere. He's gonna be a character that you interact with. That's gonna be awesome.
I hope his character is John Wick. He literally walks into a room. Is like, "You took my puppy."
John Wick, vampire.
John Wick vampire.
But I'm glad that you brought Cyberpunk up because I don't know if you guys noticed it while we were watching that trailer, but when we saw it last year at E3, they talked about how if a mission breaks down, you don't fail the mission, you just progress.
Mm-hmm.
So however you finish the mission is how you finish it. Kill civilians, your target that you're supposed to keep alive dies, yada, yada, yada. This trailer is a representation of a mission gone wrong.
Yep.
His companion wasn't supposed to die. He was supposed to do whatever, steal whatever, and then this job just go fine, and then him get paid. And not only did he lose his companion, but they tried to kill him too because of all the heat that he brought on him.
Yep.
So that just makes me even that much more hyped for this game because CD Projekt Red, with the Witcher series, where I played the original Witcher on PC and it was awful. I mean, awful. I played Witcher 2 on Xbox 360. It was okay. I was coming off of my Oblivion and Skyrim binge, so I was like, man, I want to play something else. What's this Witcher game? It looks cool. And then, The Witcher 3 is one of the greatest video games of our lifetime. And now they're doing it Cyberpunk. And, Keanu Reeves is just as hyped up about Cyberpunk.
Yeah.
It's gonna, from what we have seen so far, it's going to be incredible.
Yes.
So, I'm just going to say right now, it's Game of the Year 2020. No problem.
It's gonna be hard because Last of Us Part 2 comes out, FF7 Part 1 comes out. It's gonna be a big year. But what I was gonna say about Cyberpunk, I really hope the final game looks like this. The detail in his skin.
Mm-hmm.
He's washing his hands, and you can see his hand and he moves, and they animated the shifting of the skin and muscle.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And you watch the blood actually slowly get removed from his hands and stuff. Oh yeah,
we are treading on some really cool into some really cool waters for where gaming's going. But we're going forward. We got to go back because they debuted the gameplay trailer for Battletoads.
Battletoads.
Oh, this looks so. I'm so hyped for Battletoads. I loved the original game. It's so awesome and hard. And then this one, it's exactly what it needs to be. It doesn't need to be anything new and graphically extravagant. It actually is graphically extravagant for what they're doing with it.
Right.
It looks beautiful.
It has to be over the top.
Yeah.
I mean, that's what Battletoads is.
That's what it is. And they showed a lot of that in there. So,
how'd you feel about the over-the-shoulder bike sequence?
I believe it is going to be way better than the original. Please do.
Watch it be even more difficult.
I'll tell you what, I broke a few controllers for that.
Oh, I believe it.
That could be potentially a controller breaker for me.
Oh man, the next one was Minecraft Dungeons. It's like
it's cool.
Yeah, that actually looked really cool.
Like a Diablo style.
Yeah, and of course, where these games gonna go? Game Pass.
Yeah, all of them.
I mean, and they're gonna probably have semblance of crossplay. So if you're playing if these go on the PC, you guys could probably play with each other. We could all play with each other. It'd be cool.
Yeah.
They also after that announced the only acquisition that they announced. I think the bets were 3 for me, 4 for Mike, and 5 for Tyler. It was a lot less, but it was Double Fine. So maybe it was like that one acquisition acted as a double acquisition.
Yeah.
I mean, that's a big thing, dude. Like Double Fine, they're very quirky studio. They do a lot of different kinds of games. They're not just you've never played one Double Fine game and then played the next game and it was the same.
Right.
They always do something different. One of my favorites is Brutal Legend, Jack Black. You know, a really, really awesome game with that. And then, of course, Grim Fandango, you know, going way back. But
Psychonauts.
The Psychonauts, and then they showed a new trailer for Psychonauts 2. Of course, now that is that going to be Xbox exclusive?
I really like their interaction on stage.
Mm-hmm.
When he's like, Phil will do anything for you, whatever Xbox needs. We're there. And he's like, oh, no, we just want you to do whatever you want. He's like, good, because I was lying. He just can't do everything. I really like the interaction.
I don't know. I would imagine it's going to kind of be the same way that Outer Worlds was, where it'll be cross-party and then
anything after that will
and then go exclusive after that. I'm not the biggest Psychonaut guy in the world, but I'll tell you, go on a mushroom trip and play a Psychonauts game, and you lose your freaking mind. But no, I'm actually really, really happy to see not only that studio acquisition, you know, because imagine what that studio can do with a little bit more capital behind it, you know.
Yeah.
And people that have enjoyed the Psychonauts game have wanted a sequel for a long time. So why not?
Yeah.
Right.
Up next, Gears 5. They had a big thing for Gears 5. The release date was at September 11th.
September 16th? One of them.
I'll click on it right now.
It's in early September.
September 10th.
Right in the middle.
September 10th.
I kind of edged out on that one. I'm not a big Gears fan, so
I'm not even the biggest Gears fan either. I want to see the story that I started with Gears 1 come to fruition and end. Like Halo, I want to, and the same thing can be said for Halo. I want to see Master Chief's story end.
I don't think it will.
Well, I don't think it will either at this point, but I want to see Master Chief and Cortana's story end and then move on to something else. Better than Halo 5 Guardians, because it was awful.
I think they've kind of like hinted and tried to do that over the years. Like, hey, let's introduce these new characters, and then maybe we could try and like pivot a little bit to put less emphasis on Chief. But you know, I have not played Gears since Gears 3. I didn't play Judgment. I have 4. I haven't played it. It's not my favorite series. I do like the cover shooter. Obviously, a huge fan of other series that do that. It's not that I won't get this. This is a big title, a big series for Xbox. They really are trying to do some new stuff with it and in gameplay. So we'll see everything that has. Of course, they're also seems like they're trying to expand their multiplayer for it and do some new things with that as well. And that's cool. And then that's just awesome. They also revealed a crossover with Terminator,
which was really cool.
That was probably like the coolest part of the reveal. Other than the stage theatrics and stuff that they were doing.
The fact that they did like a little, it looked like it was a drone, and they actually literally flew it down into the underneath of the stage, and they actually had a setup down there. That was freaking cool.
Yeah. So I mean, it's cool. I mean, it's coming out before a lot of these other big games come out too. So there could be a chance. Of course, and then always there's Game Pass. So
Yep. And you notice that they really did a good job of spreading their games out.
Yeah.
None of them are on top of each other. They're nice and spread out. Yeah.
I think until 2020, and then it's just going to get crazy for everybody.
Yeah. So the new Dragon Ball Z game got a title, Dragon Ball Z Kakarot. We didn't get unless this is gameplay. It says it's an action RPG. The graphics and like the way that they've built this make it look like the damn comic and TV show come to life.
It really looked like a Toriyama mash.
Yes,
and that was perfect.
It looked crazy, colorful, vibrant. It looked like all of the craziness that you have come to see and know right in your face hole. I mean, I want to see more. I want to see this was just the big reveal, right? This was the eye catcher. I want to see what's the game play like legitimately with the HUD. I want to see progression menus. I want to see all that kind of stuff because, I've played a lot of the fighting games. They're fun. The RPG Attack of the Saiyans, that was like a long time ago on like the DS. I want to see what this is like. I want to see what the gameplay is.
Mm-hmm.
Question is how far are they going to take it? Because it stopped at Frieza. That's the last thing we saw was him fighting Frieza.
Mm-hmm.
So, as we all know, Cell Saga is not Kakarot's story.
Mm-mm.
That's Gohan's story.
Mhm.
Yeah.
So, what are we going to do?
Well, then that kind of makes sense, then, wouldn't it? Like you would take it to Frieza, like, especially an action RPG. You're unlike the fighting games, you'd be allowing yourself more time to tell the story,
Mm-hmm.
to
Right.
let it, almost like make it feel like you're playing the anime, essentially.
Which will be awesome. And
Yeah.
hopefully it's more akin to the comics.
Yes.
Yeah.
I would rather see more akin to the comics.
Where you don't have to blaze through the Cell or Free Saiyan and Frieza saga in like 2 hours. You would do it like over a course of like maybe 10 to 20, and that would be amazing.
That'd be great.
Up next was revealed the Lego Star Wars, the Skywalker Saga, all
That looks
9
cool.
movies. Yes, hell yes, because they didn't do a Lego version for Last Jedi. They did one for Force Awakens. So we're gonna get the original trilogy, the prequel trilogy, and then we're gonna get the Force Awakens, and then they're gonna Lego-fy Last Jedi, and then the new movie, and that's coming out next year. They announced the new Elite Controller 2. Cool. I mean, they're tweaking it. Mike has a theory that could be the controller that ships with the new console. I think no, because I think this controller is like $150, and they definitely want to keep that premium tab on
Okay.
that.
So what I mean by that is that I believe that they're going to be very close to the same design that they have with the Xbox One.
Okay. All right.
And then the Elite controller is going to be, I don't think they're going to deviate from that controller. I think that's going to be the next controller. They would have said, I think that they would have kind of said something about it, like maybe redesigning things. There's no redesign. It was, we're going to stick to what everybody knows and loves, and we're making it better. We're cranking it all the way up as high as we can crank it up right now for you guys. It's going to be above and beyond anything we're capable of doing currently.
Turn it up to 11.
Yep. So when they said that, and then we got the Elite 2 controller coming out. Well, why would you put the Elite 2 controller out a year before you're getting ready to release your new console that's going to have that could potentially have a whole new concept of a controller?
Yeah.
Because they're not. It's going to be the same, and they're just going to be like, boom, there it is.
Mhm.
If that's the
This is
controller
gonna
you
be-
want to use, yeah, on Scarlet you'll be able to use it just like on PC and all that stuff. I do think that the next stock controller for the next console will come with an internal battery. It better.
Oh, I think
it better.
I think Sony did it right with putting the internal battery in. If the PlayStation controller's battery was a little bit less fragile, then it would have been flawless in my opinion. I have to change running a headset and the controller. I have to change batteries, like AA batteries, out of my controller every couple of days. Only playing an hour or two of games a night, maybe at
That
the most.
really?
Mm-hmm.
I
Every couple of days, I got to change batteries.
man, mine's last couple weeks.
Not mine. And I've tried many different batteries, and it just sucks them dry.
I bought the internal battery pack.
Mm.
It is expensive.
I should have done that a long time
I'm not gonna
ago.
lie. It's like it's damn near $50.
So, the Elite 2, you said that you thought the Elite 2 controller was going to be 150. It's 180.
180.
And it arrives November 4th, and it's available for pre-order right now on Microsoft.
Yeah. All right. So this is the battery pack right here.
Mm-hmm.
Right, and that's all it is. And it goes in there, and then you don't have to. And then you can charge it via the USB, which is cool because then you can do the way that the Xbox One is almost always. You can set it to not do this, but when you turn the console off, it goes into low power mode.
Right.
Where like the PS4 standby, and when you can plug the controller in after every time you're done, and it's going to charge it.
So on the controller a little bit more, has the integrated battery, but it also has the capability of tightening the tension of your sticks.
Yeah.
That's never been done before.
Uh-uh.
I'm a big fan.
And the ability to turn your trigger sensitivity up and down.
Well, that was already on the other one, but now it's even higher. Like
Right.
you can do more with it.
It's even more sensitive.
It's sensitive.
So up next was the reveal of Tales of Arise.
That looked cool.
It looked awesome.
New Tales game announced for PS4, Xbox One, and PC.
Have you played the definitive edition? The last one that came out?
Yeah, I have it.
Is it good?
Yeah, I liked it. I enjoyed it. It's just problem is that there was so much coming out that it wasn't grabbing.
Mm.
You didn't get sucked in.
It got forgotten about.
It got forgotten about. It's in my backlog, but I'll get to it eventually.
Mm-hmm.
Wait, are you talking about the one that just came out in May?
No.
Okay, because you said definitive
Hold on.
edition,
Maybe.
and that one was, I believe, Tales of Vesperia, which was the Xbox 360 exclusive that is now out for all the consoles. That one's brand new.
That's the one I'm talking about.
Okay, that one's brand new. That one just came out in May.
Okay. So we have here the latest ones, and you look at that one. This one is 2015 Bandai Namco, and that's Stadia.
This one's 2017.
So this is the latest entry. So
Yeah, that's the one I was talking about.
Okay.
But
Yeah.
the definitive edition.
I don't have this one. I don't have
Mhm.
the definitive edition.
Okay,
Yeah.
so the Tales of Vesperia just got released for the definitive edition worldwide in January 11th, 2019.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, that's I don't have that one.
Yeah.
Obviously, I give you I got for the PlayStation, but these are good. I mean, yeah, this one's okay. I mean, I literally just started it. This one's good, but it's kind of weird. Like, so you get you actual people, and actually, these are all ghosts. Like, everybody's a ghost. It's just him.
Okay.
So it's really weird. The world's good, but I didn't finish it. I got about 50% of the way through. Got to the twist, and I was like, "Oh, the twist didn't grab me like some Final Fantasy twist.
Right.
It wrenches the heart, and you're like, I gotta kill him."
Roger.
But it was good. It was good, solid.
What's next?
Borderlands 3 trailer, along with the free Borderlands 2 DLC. If you have the Handsome Collection, that's going to bridge the gap between the games. The DLC is now live. You can download it right now if you have that game. So, yeah, that's great.
Borderlands 3 looking zesty.
It looks good.
Big, I believe, is the word that I used during the live stream. It looks very big.
It's huge.
God damn it.
I mean, how can you not use that?
Just go ahead and mute him, Brandon.
I wish I could mute just him. I'd have to mute both of you.
I'll
I mean, we could. I could
I'll
just
just
press, I
reach
could
over
reach
and
over
unplug
and
it.
turn it.
So, unfortunately, I played a little bit of a thing. I clicked on this thing so I could actually get the full thing because we got Tim talking about Project xCloud, but then we also got Xbox Scarlet officially announced and specs released. And these specs sound awfully familiar. Awfully familiar with their the Xbox hardware will bolster 8K capabilities with frame rates up to 120 frames per second. I don't think you're getting 8K in 120. I believe
I said up to in 720.
Is that what they said in 720?
Yep,
Yes.
120 frames per second in 720.
In 720.
Okay, so the company will be continuing their trend for backwards compatibility. All 4 generations are going to
Which
be
is
represented.
awesome.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Good for them. Awesome.
Of course, they have a partnership with AMD using the exact same thing as the PlayStation 5 is using.
Oh, it's not the same. There's a difference. That's what I keep hearing is that there's a difference. This one's specifically made for them, but to me,
It's
the
the
specs
same.
all the same.
No,
look
it's
same,
the
so.
it's the new it's the same Zen
Yeah,
like
I
said
know.
too. So it's also going to have ray tracing. What do you know? Variable frame rate and a new generation of SSD that is used as virtual RAM. Doesn't that sound familiar to you? That sounds exactly like last month. I'm having like Groundhog Day here.
Well.
Now, okay, so what this is, okay, so they're saying that the console is going to be 4 times more powerful than the Xbox One X, which is currently the most powerful console, and is surely exciting for console fans in general. The processor.
I'm wondering if the only reason why they said that is because the current one can do 2K, and the new one's going to be able to do 8K.
Well, the current console can do full 4K.
Everything says 4.
It's 4K, Mike. We've already had this argument, and I proved you wrong. It's 4K.
Whatever.
It is full on 4K.
Okay, but then if it's 4 times more powerful, what would that make it?
16K.
16K.
And now that's we're talking about resolution. We're not talking about powerful.
Now I'm just pulling. Now I'm just.
I just had to play along temporarily.
All right.
But yeah, the Scarlet announcement, like official announcement, was cool. I'm not gonna say reveal because
there's nothing revealed.
We didn't. I mean, the specs. The specs were revealed
to a degree. I mean, never really any pushing processing power other than it's 4 times better, but no hard numbers.
I want to see it.
What I will say is that not as far as the 1X, it is capable, but not every game that comes out for it is doing that. Like you have some games that do, like the more recent one, the one that that we saw and got to see. It was Red Dead Redemption 2.
Mm-hmm.
Looked amazing on the Xbox One X. It was the play that is the place to play that game. Anyway, the processor itself is going to be unique to the Project Scarlet and will power the monster of a device. Luckily, the fans won't have to wait terribly long. It's coming out holiday season 2020, and it's launching with Halo Infinite,
which we already decided. We knew that was going to happen.
Mm-hmm.
There's no way it's not.
We got a new trailer for Halo Infinite. It's like no gameplay. It's like a story trailer. Interesting.
I mean, it basically says that they lost.
Yeah.
I mean, it does say they lost. We lost. The Covenant won.
Well, Cortana won.
Cortana won. Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So, I mean, there's that. There are 2 that we actually forgot. We got the announcement of the new game from Software and George R.R. Martin, Elden Ring.
Yeah.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
Elden Ring.
And then also the announcement of Phantasy Star Online 2 is coming to the U.S. via Xbox One and PC.
That's going to get downloaded.
So,
I want to see what it's about. It's free to play.
Yeah.
Free to play.
All in all, dude, we said it. We all gave it an A. I think, Tyler, you gave it an A- for their showing here. It was bolstered. We didn't get Fable. We didn't get a new Forza.
My plus. If it would have been a plus, it would have been for Fable.
So what's coming out as far as like a big exclusive for the fall for them? That's Gears, and that's it. The thing is that the immediate future for this fall, for the summer, like they have stuff coming out. It's nothing major, nothing earth shattering, but they have stuff coming out, and it's like it's only going to get more involved as we get into next year.
Yep.
Yeah. Man, I'm so glad that we broke this up into 2 parts for E3 because we're already at like an hour and 40 minutes.
And we could still continue.
Oh no!
I mean, we're starting to really cut it short.
I'm keeping myself very under control.
Yes, I am too.
Yep. So we are going to have a part 2 coming up for this here on the Game X podcast. And we got Bethesda coming up here in like less than an hour.
I gotta get to my couch.
And then of course Mike and I will be continuing, and we'll be talking about the rest of it. And then Tyler and Mike are going to be talking about
everything.
We're
going to talk about the meaning of life.
Yeah,
there you go.
Well, I mean, there's a couple things that I really want to see. I really want to see what Ubisoft does in the next couple days.
Yes.
Because one of the things with Microsoft's presentation Ubisoft has really doubled down on Assassin's Creed again, and I really, really enjoy what they're doing. You know, with Origins, it was fantastic. Odyssey was fantastic. They have revitalized that franchise. They have improved it. They have made, obviously, they're still not the best stories in the world, but the games are fun to play.
Right.
Again, you know, like they were when they first started coming out. I would have liked to see Ubisoft kind of have their presentation before Microsoft, so then maybe we could see a little bit more gameplay on some beefy Microsoft One X, you know. But I just gotta wait a couple days. That's just me being impatient.
I'm gonna see more of Skull and Bones. I really want to see what that's gonna be.
Yep.
Because that's basically a Black Flag.
One thing that I'm glad that Microsoft didn't highlight today is their dead franchise Sea of Thieves that has been dead pretty much since it started.
Would you say it's dead in the water?
It's dead in the water. Thank you.
You're laughing at. You're thinking the same thing.
I have been salty about Sea of Thieves since the announcement because
salty as sea waters.
It's just it's an empty game.
Some of the stuff looks cool. Like the ship gets attacked by a freaking
giant shark,
giant monster, like the kraken.
It's an empty game, my man.
I know, but
it's empty.
It's a Sea of Z's, is what I've been told.
It's the Sea of Z's. I like it.
What I've been told. That like when it's good, but a lot of the time you're just
here I go. So
cool.
yeah, I've been like last year and this year, especially with Sony pulling out, this is probably the most excited I've been for an E3 in the last 5 years. You know, 2013 left a bad taste in everyone's mouth. That was an Xbox fan, you know. And you know, Sony's obviously made its mistakes before that, but
I made the switch due to the 13 announcement. I actually made the switch to PlayStation.
The last 2 years, I haven't really seen anything that's like, man, I don't want to give them my business anymore, because it's the total opposite. Like, I want to keep paying Microsoft for their shit because they are justifying my hobby.
Yep.
So what do I have to complain about? You know,
they're doing a lot better. Really turn it around. Phil,
happiest man in video games.
The magician.
The magician.
He's turned
the Microsoft magician.
He turned literally the backlash of, hey, you cannot crossplay. You know, you can't share your games.
Our Lord and Savior, Phil Spencer. Hallelujah.
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 I bet old Vampiro is pretty happy with Phil Spencer right now.
I bet he is.
Yep. I was watching the press conference on my screen, and I was pretty impressed with what I saw.
I liked it when they brought that vampire Keanu Reeves out on stage.
They brought John Wick out, and I was pretty excited about that.
He's a vampire, you know.
Yeah.
Anyway, guys, you guys can go to Podcastrophe, subscribe to them on Apple, Spotify, Podbean, and and you'll be able to hear.
He always remembers the plugs.
For
everyone.
You'll be able to hear Tyler and Mike go on about the meaning of life and all the stuff that's been going on this weekend as well, the stuff that we didn't cover, like Apex and maybe some stuff that hasn't happened yet. Mike and I will do that sometime this week, either Tuesday or Wednesday, whenever we get. It's either going to be early or our normal day. So it's going to be one of those days. Whenever
it really depends on what happens tonight.
Sure. Yeah.
And tomorrow.
Well, Tuesday is an 8-hour day for us, so that's why I kind of threw it out there. It's like we can go and get it done
I'm
early.
fine with that because there's nothing on Wednesday.
No.
So unless the other thing with E3 is like it starts out and you'll have the big announcement, but then more information will trickle out there.
More information will trickle in towards
it triggers out during the week.
But it
I trick or treat.
Yeah.
Hell yeah, bro.
Yeah. But I mean, by Tuesday's the official start of the show, like where people can go, and then you have like the rest of the week where stuff kind of goes out. So, I mean, either way, I guess it doesn't really,
Well, I say we just do it on Tuesday, and then if anything meaningful hits, maybe we'll do a bonus one and
Sure.
say, hey, here's all the extra stuff from E3, because, like you said, the stuff's going to trickle out.
Yeah.
And
Trigger.
trickle
You
out.
said trigger.
Yeah,
It's
I'm
gonna
sorry.
trigger
It's
out.
going to trigger out.
Yeah, man. So please stay tuned to all of our stuff on you can download this podcast if you're watching it. You can download it on podcast services around the globe, including Apple Podcasts, Spotify, Podbean, Stitcher Radio, TuneIn, Google Podcasts, and our new clients at iHeartRadio. I'm so happy to be a part of it. I'm so happy to have it to be a part of iHeartRadio. I just made myself laugh because it's going to rhyme. And then, of course, you can check us out on YouTube, as well as twitch.tv/GameAddictsPlay, and all of our social medias, Facebook, Twitter, and Instagram at GameAddictsPlay. It has been quite the podcast here, nearly 2 hours just for part 1. And, of course, Tyler, thank you so much for joining us here today.
Thank you.
You're very welcome.
It hurts my face to hold that for a long
I know.
time. Oh,
It's been great
No.
hanging out with you guys.
thank you guys for every time like something major happens in the industry. I text you, Brandon, and I'm like, hey, if you guys need any help, I like to talk about stuff. I don't want to invite myself because I feel like that's rude, but I said, hey man, if you need any help during E3, I want to do it. And
Well-
you instantly jumped on it, and I appreciate that.
Well, like the only reason I don't reach out more often is because I know how busy you are.
Right.
And, it's like, I mean, I guess the worst thing that you could tell me is no.
Right.
But it's like, I try to be mindful of your workload and your family life and all the other podcasts that you're involved with. So it's like, you've got your stuff going on, and it's like, I want you on all the time if I could have it, but it's definitely
Yes.
a hoot.
Well, I appreciate it.
And Mike, I will be seeing you very soon. Maybe be talking to both of you on the chat during. If you guys are watching along at Bethesda, you guys could be chatting along with me because I will be streaming it live.
Yeah, I will be in the chat here shortly.
Yeah.
Awesome. So, guys, thank you guys for watching and listening to this however you did. And until next time, we will see you later. I've been Brando.
I've been Mike.
And I've been Tyler.
Game on, guys. Have a good one.
Later.
Bye.